On the darkest night of your life, miles from any city, with no moon and no stars, the sky above you is still quietly glowing, and it always has been. Picture it. You have driven far from every town, every porch light, every passing car. The moon has set. Even the stars have slipped behind a thin veil of haze. You look up into what should be perfect, total black. And yet it is not black. The sky is faintly alight, all on its own. Here is the strange truth. True, complete darkness, the kind you imagine when you close your eyes, does not really exist up there. The night sky is never fully switched off. The air itself, high above your head, is the faintest of lights. Not light bouncing off something, not the last glow of a distant city. A light the sky is making by itself, for itself. This gentle, ceaseless shine has a name. It is called airglow. Some call it nightglow, which is the same thing. It is a thin, glowing layer that wraps the entire planet. Not over one country, not on special nights. Everywhere, every single night, and quietly all through the day as well. So let one question hang in the air for a while. If no city made it, and no star sent it, where does this light come from? It is not reflected. It is not borrowed from somewhere else. The sky is genuinely making this light from scratch, and to understand how, you have to think about what the air does all day long. By day, the upper air drinks in the sun, not the warm light you feel on your skin. It swallows the invisible, high-energy part of sunlight called ultraviolet, the same kind that burns you at the beach. That energy gets stored inside the atoms and molecules up high. They hold on to it, and then slowly through the night they hand it back. They release that stored sunlight as a soft, visible glow. It is, in a way, the day quietly paying you back after dark. The sky runs the whole thing on a kind of very slow loan. It borrows light at noon and repays it at midnight with no rush at all. Scientists have a careful word for this: chemiluminescence, which simply means light made by chemistry, not by heat. No fire, no glowing ember, just atoms letting go of energy as a faint shine. A tiny extra push comes from cosmic rays, fast specks of matter raining in from deep space, but most of it is that stored sunlight coming home. Now here is a fair question. If the air does this up high, why not down here, around you? Why does the breeze at your feet not glow? The answer is loneliness. Up where airglow lives, the air is unimaginably thin. The atoms are spread so far apart that they almost never bump into each other. Down here, near the ground, atoms are packed shoulder to shoulder. An excited atom near you would crash into a neighbor and lose its energy as a tiny nudge of heat, long before it could shine. But high up, with nobody to bump into, an excited atom has only one way to let go. It glows. Solitude, it turns out, is what lets the sky shine. And the glow has a signature color, one particular green. It comes from oxygen, the very same oxygen you are breathing right now. A single, exact shade of green at 557.7 nanometers. That one narrow color carries roughly a fifth of all the visible light in the night airglow. One line, one color doing so much of the work, and this green is no ordinary glow. Physicists call it a forbidden line, which sounds dramatic, but only means it is a transition an oxygen atom almost never allows itself to make. An excited oxygen atom would rather wait and wait before releasing this particular green. Down here where atoms collide constantly, it never gets the chance. Only in the lonely, thin air far above can it finally let that forbidden green slip out. And here is the astonishing turn. This color was so stubborn, so hard to coax out of oxygen in any laboratory that for decades nobody could reproduce it on Earth at all. It glowed freely across the whole night sky. But trapped in a jar, in a lab, it simply refused. It was not reproduced in a laboratory until 1924. The sky had been showing it off for the entire history of the human species, and the lab could not copy it until well within living memory. Now let that earlier question come back around. You have probably seen this light and not known it. That faint green smudge low in your night photos, the one you blamed on a far-off town. That soft glow you assumed was a weak aurora. Very often that is airglow. That is the planet itself, quietly shining on its own. Not a city, not the sun's leftovers. The Earth, glowing in the dark, completely under its own power. People have been chasing this faint green for a long time. In 1868, a Swedish physicist named Anders Jonas Angstrom caught it. He spotted that green emission near 557.7 nanometers in the night sky. He is generally credited as the first to identify airglow. The year before, he had been the first to study the aurora through a spectroscope, an instrument that splits light into its colors. So the same careful eye found the secret in both. Then came a son in his father's shadow, Robert John Strutt, who carried the title 4th Baron Rayleigh. His father was the far more famous Lord Rayleigh, the man who helped explain why the daytime sky is blue. But the son made his own mark in the dark. In the 1920s, he was the first to clearly separate airglow from the aurora. He gave it a lovely name. He called it the permanent aurora, a glow that, unlike the northern lights, simply never leaves. And in 1929, he was the first to actually measure how bright the night sky's own light is. Still, the source of that green remained a mystery. What exactly was glowing? That answer came in 1925. Two researchers, John McLennan and Gordon Shrum, pinned it down. They showed the green line came from atomic oxygen. Single oxygen atoms, high in the air, glowing alone. It had taken roughly half a century from Angstrom's first sighting to naming the culprit. The word airglow itself came later still, often linked to the astronomer Otto Struve and the scientist Sidney Chapman, who also helped work out the chemistry behind the glow. So picture that long handoff. One man catches the color, another separates it from the aurora and learns to weigh it. Two more name the atom behind it. A slow, patient relay, stretched across generations, all to explain a light most people never even notice. But here's the twist. The people who see this glow best are not standing on the ground at all. They are far above it. From the International Space Station, astronauts look down at Earth's curved edge, and there, hugging that curve, they see it plainly. Glowing green bands, and sometimes orange and red ones too, wrapped around the rim of the planet like a thin ribbon of light. NASA and the European Space Agency have gathered many photographs of exactly this. In 2011, astronauts captured beautiful images of that green band shining along Earth's limb. And look closer at those bands. They are not smooth. They ripple. They show stripes and waves like the surface of a pond. Those ripples come from gravity waves. Not the famous ripples in space and time, but waves rolling through the air itself. The way swells move across the sea. Pockets of air rise and sink and roll, and the glowing layer rides those swells, brightening and dimming in bands. So the night sky is not a still, painted ceiling. It breathes. The glow shifts from minute to minute. At a truly dark site, the brightness of the whole sky can change by more than half a step in a single night, and it changes across years too. The sun runs on a roughly 11-year cycle, swinging from quiet to stormy and back. At the sun's most active, airglow shines about half a magnitude brighter than at its calmest. In plain terms, the sky glows a little more when the sun is feeling loud. The night is never the same twice. You could return to the same field on the same date, and the sky would be quietly different. Now there is a myth worth gently clearing up. Many people think airglow is just a feeble aurora, two faces of the same thing. They are not. The aurora needs charged particles streaming off the sun. Those particles get funneled down by Earth's magnetic field, mostly toward the poles, where they slam into the air and make it shine. That is why the northern and southern lights gather near the top and bottom of the world. Airglow needs none of that, no solar storm, no magnetic poles. It runs on stored sunlight and quiet chemistry, and it covers the entire globe all the time. The confusion is easy to forgive, though, because the aurora's green and the airglow's green are the very same color, from the very same oxygen atom. 557.7 nanometers in both. Same atom. Same exact shade. Only the source of energy is different. One is lit by the sun's particles crashing in. The other is lit by sunlight quietly handed back. There is one more way to tell them apart with your own eyes. The aurora is structured and restless, drawing curtains and arcs that follow the magnetic field. Airglow is calm and even, a soft and steady wash spread over the whole sky. One performs, the other simply abides. And it is not the only quiet light up there. Oxygen also gives off a deeper red glow from much higher still, far above the green. There is even a faint yellow from sodium, the same metal in old street lamps, sitting in a thin layer of its own. So the heavens, in a sense, run the same cheap yellow lighting as your local parking lot, just hung 200 kilometers higher. Of all these faint diffuse glows, the soft starlight, the dust-lit haze, the dim wash from distant galaxies, airglow is usually the brightest of them. The sky's own light outshines almost every other gentle source in the dark. So here is where all of this lands tonight for you. The next time you find a clear, dark sky far from every lamp and screen, lie back. Let your eyes adjust slowly for many minutes, and know that the blackness above you is not empty and not truly black. It is a light, a faint green light, made by lonely oxygen atoms, repaying a debt of sunlight from hours before. A glow that has wrapped this planet every single night since long before anyone looked up to name it. It asks nothing of you. It just shines quietly, whether or not a single soul is watching. So here is the gentle wonder to carry home. On the darkest night you can find, you are not staring into nothing. You are bathing in the softest light the world makes for itself. When you next lie under that quiet glow, what will you find yourself thinking about out there in the light you finally know is there?